Three overreactions of week 4.
Yes, sir. Week 4 overreactions already. We talked about it earlier when discussing the Commanders from Washington. They will win the NFC East. That is our first overreaction of this week. You can even throw aside any current records for the teams in the NFC East. The Commanders look like the best team in this division. They're far from perfect. You know, they got handled in week 1 by Tampa Bay. Their defense is slightly below average in terms of production and scoring. But there's been so much improvement from that week 1 outing, and their offense is so good that it makes up for their shortcomings on defense. So Jayden Daniels, like I said earlier, he's led more scoring drives than he's had incompletions this year. No one really does that, especially not as a rookie. Washington offense is top 16 in every single statistical category you could think of other than pass attempts. They're still 14th in yards and they're 3rd in yards per attempt and sack yardage. So they take a little bit more sack yardage than most teams. So anything else, they're top 16. And in most categories, they're top 5, if not top 10. So this offense, go look at the numbers. They stack up against some of the best in the entire league with a new offensive coordinator, a defensive-minded head coach who came in, and a rookie quarterback. Who would have thunk? It's just straight out of nowhere, right? You know, some people expected improvement, but the teams that they thought were going to do super well, let's take a look at them. Philadelphia, I mean, my Eagles, you know what I mean? They look dysfunctional. Between the players and the coaches, it seems like there's some sort of disconnect, and even then, the players aren't really executing. This defensive line hasn't been able to generate pressure or contain the run. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is reaching out for Mike Evans in the end zone. You have, the Cowboys too, and they're just not good. They have a top 5 passing offense, and that's all they're really good at. They have the worst rushing defense in the league, or rushing offense in the league, bottom 5 rushing or total defense, and bottom 5 in all rushing categories as well, and a slightly below average passing defense. So Dallas is on the struggle bus as well. And then you look at the Giants, well, they aren't really good at much outside of Malik Neighbors and how he's been playing. But also respect to Wan'Dale Robinson because he's really shaken off the injury bug and been able to produce. So the Commanders are really the only team here who really has consistent good things to build off of, right? You get in some shootouts, but your offense shows that they can score at will, right? With Jayden Daniels at the helm. And they're really the only team in this division who has figured things out. Again, their defense isn't great, but it's been counteracted by an even better offense. So far, the Commanders will win the division, and it's going to be yet another year where you don't have a consecutive winner in this division. One of the craziest trends.
Brian Johnson holding the Eagles back.
And now he's thriving in Washington. Next. Miami is cooked and should draft a quarterback in 2025. They have looked abysmal this season. Without Tua, it's been pure dysfunction on offense. I mean, did you see them the other night? Even with Tyler Huntley, who didn't have a terrible performance considering how he could run the ball. All things considered, as a team, they were terrible. And the offense, I mean, even Devon Achane, who's had one of the most efficient rookie seasons ever, is somewhat struggling behind this offensive line. Tyreek Hill kind of been in and out of the lineup, but no Tua, and they're just not getting it done. But even then, with Tua Tagovailoa in the lineup, Miami hadn't scored more than 20 points this season.
Miami has not held a lead a single second in the NFL 2024 season.
Yikes. That's not good. And they weren't great with Tua, even when he was in there. They have the worst scoring offense and one of the worst scoring defenses in the league. Statistically, the Dolphins might be a bottom 5 team right now. They just lost to the Titans, who, by all measures, have not been good at all. They managed to lose to the Bears, Will Levis has been on Shackton a fool each week, including what the Fuchs. Thank you, Sora. But looking ahead now at the Dolphins again, they really should move on from Tua for his own benefit and for the organization's, right? They shouldn't rely on someone who has a history with concussions year after year and someone who just really struggled even when he was playing this year. And if you do err on the side of, oh, well, if he wants to play, let him play, then go ahead. He's on IR right now, but whenever he comes back, let him play. But get an elite insurance policy for Tua. This is now year number 2 in a row. Concussions are no joke. And at some point, you got to reevaluate things because even when he was playing, this has not been a good season for the Fins. So go out there, get another quarterback, and then draft a bunch of offensive linemen because you need a lot of help out there. Last overreaction for the week. Malik Neighbors could save Daniel Jones' job.
Yes.
Neighbors is second in the league in receiving yards, and he just left this past week's contest a little early with a concussion. He has scored half of the Giants' touchdowns this season as well. 3 out of their 6. Devin Singletary has 2 of the others, and Wan'Dale Robinson has the other 1. Neighbors has been a revelation for this team. Not only has he seen a lot of volume, but he has produced with that volume. And you know what? There was some controversy around Daniel Jones on if he was overrated, maybe a little underrated, somewhere in between, especially with that contract. Was it deserved? Was it not? But since the beginning of the season, there have been some pretty bad moments, but you can't deny that when Daniel Jones targets Neighbors, good things happen. And this might be exactly what Daniel Jones needed to stay with the team, especially if Brian Daboll gets canned. If he gets fired, Jones could be the one to survive a coaching change. And between the two of them, there was a lot of debate who would go first, Daniel Jones or Brian Daboll. At this point, it seems like Daniel Jones is going to outlast the former offensive coordinator in Buffalo. So Neighbors has a big role in all of this happening. Also, shout out Wan'Dale Robinson for staying healthy, but Malik Neighbors is the true catalyst in Daniel Jones' improved play. Even though it's not great, it's certainly improved. So Daniel Jones better give him a very nice Christmas present because Neighbors has worked wonders for this offense. You don't believe me? Just watch the last few games. He's been incredible. So Malik Neighbors has to get the credit that he deserves for his role in this Giants offense because, quite frankly, he kind of is the Giants offense. And you know what? It's going to keep Danny Dimes in town for another year or two.
All right. Yes, I would have to agree with you on this one right here. I mean, I agree with all your takes, but yes, as we see. But you got to give credit to Daniel Jones for getting him the ball because some of his throws have been on point this season.
Hey, they don't call him Danny Dimes for nothing. They come here every once in a while, and now he's got a receiver who can generate separation, unlike Marvin Jones Jr. Good things will start to happen, especially if he can stay healthy. Hopefully this concussion doesn't keep him out for more than a game.
Yeah, man. I'm super impressed, man, and I hope he keeps it up. And, I need Malik Neighbors to keep it up, too, because I have him as my offensive rookie of the year. Speaking of that, it might be if Jay Daniels keeps it up, it'll be him for sure because it's going to be quarterback heavy. But
yeah,
or the votes will be, but
votes are going to be quarterback heavy, especially when the rest of the quarterback class has not looked the best as of now.
Yeah, but what do you consider a great rookie wide receiver season versus a great rookie quarterback season? Like, you know what I'm saying? What trumps the other?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. It depends on how much. For me, it's going to depend on how much has the run game really helped out Daniels with these wins, because it's going to still probably have to be. They still got to get a good chunk of wins.
Yep.
And then, how much really of the offensive production is Malik Neighbors, because you don't got Saquon now. So, and your running game with Singletary hasn't really been the best. So how much of your offensive production is Neighbors?
Mm-hmm.